There exists, hidden within the fabric of the universe, a vibration, a sacred number, a law so exact that when it is understood, money flows as freely as rain upon the thirsty earth. It is not a number written upon ledgers of man, nor does it appear in the calculations of banks or accountants. This number lives in the unseen, in the spiritual mathematics that governs all abundance. It is the cipher of harmony between thought and substance, the key that unlocks the treasury of heaven. Every soul is born with the right to prosperity, yet many walk in ignorance of this divine equation. They search the outer world for security, clutching coins and counting bills, not realizing that true wealth is first formed in the inner sanctuary of thought. For money is but a symbol, a messenger, a shadow of the substance that already exists in infinite supply. To call it forth, one must tune the heart to the right vibration, the exact rhythm of faith and fearless expectancy. The secret number that rains money is not guessed by chance, nor forced by will. It is revealed when one aligns with the eternal truth that God is the unfailing source of supply. Fear, doubt, and resentment create broken calculations. They divide and subtract. Gratitude, faith, and joyful expectation multiply without limit. When the mind strikes the right chord, when words are spoken in harmony with divine law, the rain of money descends in perfect season, watering every dry place in life. This number cannot be hoarded, for it is living, flowing, ever in motion. Those who try to lock it away in vaults and guard it, with anxiety lose its blessing, for they have stepped out of rhythm. But those who give freely, trusting the invisible bank of spirit, find that the more they pour out, the more is poured back to them. It is a rain that never ceases, for the clouds of supply are filled from an eternal ocean. To discover this secret number, one must silence the noise of worry and tune the inner ear to the whisper of intuition. Spirit speaks in symbols, in flashes of inspiration, in sudden guidance that seems as natural as breathing. The number appears when the heart is free from fear of lack, when the lips speak only of abundance, when the eyes see prosperity everywhere. Then, without effort, doors open, opportunities appear, debts vanish, and streams of money flow as though commanded by an unseen hand. The rain does not fall for the chosen few. It falls wherever the atmosphere is prepared. Anyone may call it down. Anyone may live in its refreshing shower. The law is impartial, exact, eternal. Those who know it walk in plenty, not because they strive, but because they trust. They have found the key, the sacred number, and with it they open the storehouse of heaven, where supply is measureless, and money rains as surely as the spring showers upon the earth. Money is a symbol of divine supply, not the source itself. To the ordinary mind, money is the beginning and end of every transaction, the very lifeblood of existence. It appears as the golden thread that weaves together security, comfort, and recognition. Yet to the awakened mind, money is nothing more than a picture, a shadow, a representation of something infinitely greater. Just as a photograph is not the living person, but only the reflection of their likeness, so is money not the true substance, but the symbol of the abundance that flows from the invisible reservoir of spirit. To mistake the symbol for the source is to chase shadows and live in perpetual fear of losing what was never real power to begin with. To see money as divine supply made manifest is to step into freedom, knowing that behind every coin and every bill stands the infinite Creator. Unchanging, unending, unmeasured. Many live in bondage to this shadow, fearing its loss, longing for its gain, and shaping their days around its pursuit. They rise and sleep with thoughts of bills and balances, as if their very breath depended upon numbers written on paper. Yet the truth is that money in itself has no breath, no life, no strength. It carries only the meaning man has placed upon it. The paper is pulp. The coin is metal, yet the faith behind them is what gives them circulation. The moment one remembers that money is a servant and not a master, a symbol and not the source, chains fall away, for one no longer bows before the shadow, but lifts their eyes to the light that casts it. The source is eternal, invisible, and inexhaustible. It is that which clothes the lilies of the field without effort, that which feeds the birds of the air without worry. It is the law of abundance woven into creation itself. Just as the ocean does not ration its waves, nor the sun limit its rays, so does the infinite not withhold supply from its children. To think that supply can dry up is to believe in separation from the divine. Money may shift, forms may change, channels may close, yet the source itself remains unbroken, unending, forever giving of its own nature. Those who see only the money miss the fountain. Those who look past the symbol to the spirit drink continually from the ever-flowing stream. When a man clings to money as his security, he builds his house upon sand. The tides of fortune may sweep it away in an hour. But when he rests in the awareness that money is merely one channel among countless others, through which divine supply expresses, then he cannot be shaken. One door may close, but another opens with perfect timing. A bank account may empty, but unexpected provision appears from places unseen. Supply is never limited to a paycheck, a business, or an investment. These are only shadows cast by the substance. To worship the shadow is to be deceived. To trust the substance is to live in unbroken plenty. Money in the hands of one who knows its place becomes a holy tool, a channel of blessing, an instrument of service. It is no longer clutched in fear but released in joy. Such a one gives freely, not to impress, not to buy favor, but because he knows that giving and receiving are one. The river must flow, or it becomes stagnant. So too does supply stagnate when one hoards in fear. To release is to make room for more, to open the channels for greater streams. This cannot be understood by those who see money as the source. For to them, giving is loss. But to the awakened, giving is multiplication, for they know the source can never be diminished. Consider the farmer who plants seeds in the ground. He does not mourn the seeds as though they were lost forever. He knows the ground is abundant, and that each seed will return manyfold. So it is with money when seen as a seed of divine supply. To place it where intuition guides, to use it for good, to circulate it with gratitude, is to sow into the invisible law that governs all prosperity. The harvest may appear as money, or it may appear as opportunity, as health, as protection, as doors swinging open at the right moment. The form may vary, but the source is always the same, eternal, unfailing. The great error of mankind has been the worship of the symbol. Nations rise and fall in their pursuit of gold. Men betray and destroy for the sake of possession, forgetting that the very gold they cling to is dust in comparison with the treasure of spirit. Money without awareness of its true source becomes a false god, promising peace but delivering restlessness, offering safety but birthing fear. For if money is the source, then man is always in danger of losing it. But if spirit is the source, then man is forever safe, forever sustained, forever prosperous, regardless of outer appearances. Every thought of lack, every fear of loss, every anxious calculation is born of forgetting the truth of supply. To remember is to rest, to walk in peace, to know that what one needs will come in perfect ways and perfect timing. Money may appear as the channel today. Tomorrow it may be another form altogether. The channel may change, but the supply is constant. Just as water may flow through different rivers, but remains the same ocean, so does supply flow through many avenues yet remains one infinite source. The wise soul does not cling to the river, but trusts the ocean. Money as symbol is a mirror, reflecting back to each individual the state of their consciousness. When one dwells in fear, money appears scarce, fleeting, elusive. When one abides in gratitude and expectancy, money flows with ease. The outer always mirrors the inner. To chase after the reflection without changing the image within is futile. It is like polishing a mirror while ignoring the face it reflects. But to cultivate thoughts of abundance, to speak words of plenty, to act with confidence in the unseen source, is to shape the inner image, and the mirror of money must follow in harmony. In truth, no one is ever without supply, for the source is as near as breath and as vast as eternity. It is man's perception that creates the illusion of lack. By lifting thought above appearances, by refusing to be hypnotized by the shadow, by affirming the reality of divine abundance, one calls forth the symbol in greater measure. Money then appears naturally, effortlessly. as the shadow of the substance, the messenger of the source, the rain that proves the existence of the clouds above. Fear divides and subtracts. Faith multiplies and adds. Fear is the great thief of life, the shadow that creeps into the mind and whispers of lack, of danger, of uncertainty. It paints pictures of tomorrow that never arrive, it drains the energy of today, and it builds walls between man and his good. Fear is subtraction. The silent eraser that removes opportunities, that divides the strength of the spirit, that weakens the very hands that could have built prosperity. It speaks in the language of limitation, always pointing to what is missing, never to what is possible. Fear shrinks the vision, narrows the path, and convinces the soul to live on scraps when a feast has been laid before it. Every thought of fear is a command to the universe to withhold. Every word of worry is a magnet for delay. Every anxious action is a seed that bears the fruit of frustration. Faith, by contrast, multiplies and adds. It is the golden key that opens every locked door, the sunlight that brings forth a harvest from the seed, the power that transforms the invisible into the visible. Faith is the assurance that the source is always present, always abundant, always providing. It does not waver in the face of appearances, for it knows that appearances are shadows, and that substance is eternal. Faith adds strength where fear subtracts it, it multiplies courage where fear divides it, it calls forth prosperity where fear whispers of poverty. The soul that walks in faith is never alone, for faith attracts support, opportunities, and ideas. Just as a magnet draws iron to itself, faith draws provision, guidance, and supply. Fear always calculates loss. It counts coins with trembling hands, measuring what is too little, convincing the mind that there will never be enough. Fear divides the future into fragments of disaster, adding up the cost of imagined troubles, subtracting peace before anything has even occurred. Faith, on the other hand, calculates increase. It looks at the same small coin and sees it multiplying into many. It looks at the empty field and sees the golden harvest. It sees beyond the present lack into the abundance that already exists in the unseen. Faith adds hope, and hope adds power, and power adds results. Fear says, I cannot. Faith says, it is already done. Fear says, what if I fail? Faith says, what if I succeed beyond measure? Fear shrinks every opportunity until it appears impossible. Faith expands every possibility until it becomes inevitable. Fear turns the mind into a prison. Faith opens the mind into a kingdom. Fear divides the self, setting thought against action, heart against will, dream against reality. Faith unites them, harmonizing thought, word, and action into one powerful current that moves directly toward fulfillment. Fear makes man cling to what he has, as if letting go would leave him destitute. Faith makes man give, knowing that to give is to receive, that the act of releasing multiplies the return. Fear subtracts joy from every transaction, weighing it down with worry and suspicion. Faith adds joy to every exchange, lighting it with gratitude and expectation. Fear divides relationships, setting man against man, nation against nation. For fear always imagines lack and competition. Faith multiplies unity, seeing that supply is infinite, and that no man's gain is another's loss. Fear weakens the body as well as the spirit. It subtracts energy, divides health, and multiplies disease. Faith strengthens every cell, adds vitality, and multiplies resilience. Fear produces confusion, faith brings clarity. Fear locks the door, faith opens the window. Fear subtracts from the song of life, making it a whisper of doubt. Faith multiplies the music until it becomes a symphony of abundance. When fear governs the mind, the imagination is poisoned. It creates pictures of failure, disaster, poverty, and betrayal. The more one gazes upon these inner pictures, the more power they receive, until they seem to manifest as reality. Fear divides the creative power of thought and turns it against itself. But when faith governs the mind, imagination becomes a servant of abundance. It paints pictures of success, prosperity, joy, and fulfillment. These pictures draw substance from the unseen and clothe themselves in form. Faith adds power to thought, multiplies its effect, and manifests abundance. The law of life is exact: what one fears comes upon him. What one has faith in grows before him. Fear sows subtraction and reaps lack, faith sows multiplication and reaps plenty. Fear looks at the desert and sees only barrenness. Faith looks at the desert and sees rivers springing forth. Fear dwells on obstacles and multiplies them in the mind until they block every path. Faith acknowledges obstacles, but adds the conviction that every obstacle is a stepping stone, every barrier a bridge, every problem a doorway to greater provision. Fear divides man from his own intuition. It drowns out the still small voice with clamors of doubt and panic. Faith adds harmony to the inner ear, making it sensitive to guidance, to flashes of inspiration, to sudden knowing. Fear subtracts opportunities by closing the eyes to them, even when they are near at hand. Faith multiplies opportunities by making the eyes keen to see them, the hands ready to grasp them, the heart prepared to act upon them. Fear holds man in bondage, faith sets him free. Fear is the belief in absence. Faith is the conviction of presence. Fear says, I am alone. Faith says, the infinite walks with me. Fear subtracts courage in the face of challenge. Faith multiplies courage until the challenge becomes a triumph. Fear divides man's strength, spreading it thin with endless worries, while faith gathers all strength into a single focused power. Fear weakens the voice until it trembles. Faith adds authority until it commands. Fear multiplies obstacles. Faith multiplies solutions. Fear divides the mind into indecision. Faith unites it into action. The world is full of men and women who have allowed fear to divide and subtract. They live small lives, shrinking back from opportunity, clutching at safety, only to find that safety eludes them. Yet the few who live by faith walk paths that expand and expand, for faith multiplies their influence, their prosperity, their joy. They are not reckless but assured, not careless but trusting, not anxious but expectant. They know that each step forward adds to their supply, each act of courage multiplies their return. Each word of faith commands the very substance of the universe to shape itself around their intention. Gratitude and joyful expectation open the floodgates of abundance. Gratitude is the recognition of the divine hand already moving in one's life, the acknowledgement that supply is here, present, flowing, regardless of appearances. It is the soul's song of appreciation for the gifts already received, whether large or small, visible or unseen. Gratitude is a magnet, drawing to itself more of what it acknowledges. When one gives thanks for the little multiplies. When one gives thanks for the unseen becomes visible. Gratitude turns the key that unlocks hidden treasures, for it aligns the heart with the rhythm of abundance. The ungrateful heart closes doors, for it focuses only on what is missing, on lack, on emptiness. But the grateful heart sees fullness everywhere and attracts more of it into manifestation. Gratitude is the declaration that good is present now, not in some distant future, and this recognition hastens the flow of supply. Joyful expectation is the twin of gratitude, for it looks forward with confidence, knowing that the same source that has provided will provide again, in greater measure, in perfect timing, in perfect ways. Expectation is faith clothed in anticipation, the assurance that tomorrow holds blessing, that opportunities are on their way, that prosperity is unfolding even when no evidence appears. It is the attitude that greets each day not with dread, but with delight, not with worry but with wonder, ready to receive the miracle that is already in motion. Joyful expectation keeps the channel open, for it refuses to doubt, refuses to fear, refuses to close the gate with disbelief. It is the consciousness that prepares the room for the guest before the guest arrives, that sets the table before the feast is seen, that sings the song before the victory is heard. Gratitude without expectation can be static, content with what is but never reaching for what could be. Expectation without gratitude can be restless, always looking forward without appreciating the present. But together, gratitude and joyful expectation form the perfect current, one that acknowledges the blessings already in hand while eagerly opening the door to greater blessings on the way. Gratitude roots the soul in peace, expectation lifts the soul in vision. Gratitude says, I am blessed now. Expectation says, greater blessings are coming. Together they form the perfect circle of abundance, unbroken, unending, ever increasing. Gratitude transforms the mind's vision. Where another may see lack, the grateful heart sees opportunity. Where another may see delay, the grateful heart sees preparation. Gratitude turns the smallest coin into evidence of prosperity, the smallest gesture into a sign of love, the smallest opportunity into the seed of a great harvest. Gratitude multiplies because it sees multiplication everywhere. Joyful expectation, on the other hand, directs the gaze forward, beyond obstacles, beyond delays, beyond appearances. It creates a magnetic pull toward the future, drawing good into the present with its confident anticipation. Expectation lifts the horizon of thought, teaching the mind to anticipate blessing rather than disaster, supply rather than shortage, growth rather than decline. The universe responds to gratitude with generosity. Just as a friend who feels appreciated desires to give more, so does life itself pour out more upon the one who lives in thanksgiving. Gratitude is the vibration of acknowledgement, and acknowledgement attracts repetition. When one gives thanks for money received, more money finds its way. When one gives thanks for health, the body strengthens. When one gives thanks for love, relationships deepen. The law is precise: whatever one thanks for increases. Joyful expectation amplifies this law by creating the readiness to receive. It is the open hand, the outstretched vessel, the consciousness that makes room for abundance to enter. Without expectation, abundance may be near but cannot find its place. With expectation, abundance has a clear channel to flow. Gratitude speaks in the present tense: I am supplied, I am provided for, I am blessed. Expectation speaks in the future tense: greater supply is on the way, greater provision is unfolding, greater blessings are prepared. Together they create an unbroken stream of prosperity. The soul that practices gratitude alone may rest in peace, but stagnate in growth. The soul that practices expectation alone may rush toward the future but overlook the beauty of now. The soul that blends the two walks in perfect balance, grounded in appreciation yet lifted by vision, content yet expansive, peaceful yet progressive. Gratitude dissolves complaint, for one cannot complain and give thanks at the same time. Complaint focuses on what is lacking. Gratitude focuses on what is present. Complaint closes the gate, gratitude opens it wide. Joyful expectation dissolves worry, for one cannot worry and expect good simultaneously. Worry prepares for loss, expectation prepares for gain. Worry arms itself for disaster. Expectation prepares itself for blessing. Gratitude and expectation together silence the voices of fear and doubt, for they shift the focus entirely from what is missing to what is given, from what could go wrong to what must go right. The power of gratitude lies in its ability to shift consciousness instantly. The moment one gives thanks, the heart lifts, the mind clears, the spirit shines. Gratitude does not wait for outer change, it creates inner change that draws outer change. The power of expectation lies in its ability to sustain momentum. Gratitude brings peace in the moment, expectation carries that peace forward, day by day, until the vision becomes real. Gratitude is the seed, expectation is the sunlight, and together they bring forth the harvest. Those who live without gratitude dwell in scarcity, for they never see the blessings already at their feet. They wander in the desert though springs flow beside them. Those who live without expectation dwell in stagnation, for they never prepare for greater blessings, and thus they do not come. But those who live in both gratitude and expectation live in a perpetual spring, where blessings flow in the present and multiply into the future. Gratitude anchors them, expectation expands them. Gratitude enriches the now. Expectation draws forth the tomorrow. Gratitude is the key that unlocks what is already given. Expectation is the call that summons what is yet to come. Gratitude turns lack into sufficiency. Expectation turns sufficiency into abundance. Gratitude is the voice of the heart. Expectation is the vision of the mind. And when the two speak together, the universe responds in kind. Gratitude pours oil on the wheels of life. Expectation sets them in motion. Gratitude clears the clouds. Expectation calls down the rain. Gratitude makes the vessel whole. Expectation fills it to overflowing. Giving freely keeps the current of wealth in motion. Wealth is not a stagnant pool but a flowing river, alive only as long as it moves. To hold it tightly in fear of loss is to dam the stream, and what was once living begins to grow stale and dry. The law of circulation governs all things. The air must move to remain fresh. The blood must flow to keep the body alive. The river must run to keep its waters pure. In the same way, money must circulate to maintain its vitality, and it circulates most powerfully through the open hand of giving. Giving is not loss but expansion. What is given with trust and joy multiplies and returns, not always in the same form, but always in greater measure. To release freely is to declare to the universe, I am not limited by what I hold, I am connected to an inexhaustible source that continually replenishes me. Fear says, if I give, I will have less. Faith says, if I give, I open the door to more. Fear clutches, faith releases. Fear breaks the current, faith keeps it flowing. Those who understand this law know that true prosperity is never measured by what one has in storage, but by the freedom with which one gives and the certainty that what is given is already on its way back multiplied. The miser who hoards suffers under the illusion of security. He locks away his gold, but in the silence of his vault there is no movement, no life, no joy. His wealth becomes a prison, and he becomes its prisoner. He lives in fear of thieves, in dread of loss, in suspicion of others. His hoard subtracts from his peace rather than adding to it. But the giver lives in freedom, for his wealth is never bound to a vault, never chained to one channel. He knows that as long as he gives, he remains in the current, and as long as the current flows, he can never be without. His security is not in accumulation, but in circulation, not in possession, but in participation with the law of giving and receiving. Every act of giving is a seed. It may be money, it may be time, it may be kindness, but every seed carries within it a harvest. The farmer does not count his loss when he scatters seed upon the earth. He knows the return will come in abundance. So too the wise soul does not mourn what is given, but rejoices, for he knows the law will return it in greater measure. Giving freely, without calculation or fear, plants seeds in the unseen soil of spirit, and these seeds bear fruit in perfect timing. Sometimes the harvest comes in money, sometimes in opportunity, sometimes in healing, sometimes in protection, but always it comes, for the law cannot fail. The spirit in which one gives determines the nature of the return. A gift given reluctantly, with resentment or pride, carries little power. A gift given with joy, with gratitude, with love, carries the vibration of abundance and multiplies swiftly. The universe does not respond to the coin alone, but to the consciousness with which the coin is given. To give in fear is to keep the current clogged, but to give in joy is to open the floodgates wide. The cheerful giver lives in a constant stream of supply, for his giving is a song that draws the echoes of heaven. Giving also dissolves the illusion of separation. When one gives, he acknowledges that he is not isolated, that his good is not cut off from others. He becomes a channel through which abundance flows, and in being such a channel, he remains connected to the source. To cut off giving is to cut off receiving, for they are two ends of the same current. To hoard is to declare oneself apart, and in that declaration, the flow ceases. But to give is to remain connected, to keep the channels open, to ensure that the current never dries up. The paradox of giving is that the more one releases, the more one has. Those who give of their wealth find more wealth returning. Those who give of their time find more time appearing. Those who give of their talents find more talents unfolding. The law is multiplication, not subtraction. To cling is to diminish, to release is to expand. This is why many who have little yet give freely often live in joy and find their needs continually supplied, while those who have much yet hoard live in fear and see their riches slip through their fingers. Giving freely requires trust in the unseen source. It requires the conviction that one is always provided for, that there is no true loss, that what goes out returns in multiplied form. Without this trust, giving feels like danger. With it, giving feels like freedom. The act of giving declares, I live in abundance, not in scarcity. I am sustained by an infinite supply, not by what I hold in my hand. I trust the law of circulation to bring back to me what I need, when I need it, in perfect measure. Even nature itself teaches this law. The tree gives its fruit, and in that giving, the seed is sown for future harvests. The clouds give their rain, and in that giving, the rivers are filled and the land made fertile. The sun gives its light, and in that giving, life flourishes on earth. Nothing in creation hoards, for hoarding would mean death. Life survives and multiplies only through circulation, through the continual giving and receiving that sustains the whole. Man alone imagines that he can break this law, clutching at possessions and fearing their loss, yet wondering why prosperity eludes him. Giving breaks the spell of fear. Fear whispers, "Hold tightly, you may never have enough." Giving replies, "I release freely, for I am always supplied." Fear counts and measures, calculating every coin, every hour, every favor, always expecting loss. Giving multiplies without calculation, trusting the invisible hand that governs all increase. In giving, fear loses its grip, and faith takes its place. The giver learns through experience that he can never truly run out, for the source is limitless, and the more he gives, the more the law proves itself true. To give freely is to act as a channel for divine abundance. The river does not keep its waters for itself, yet it is never dry. The sun does not withhold its light, yet it never burns out. In the same way, man who gives freely does not diminish himself, but becomes a living instrument of abundance. As he pours out, he is continually replenished. As he shares, he is continually supplied. His wealth is measured not by what he clutches, but by what flows through him. The secret number is revealed through alignment with spiritual law. This number is not discovered in books of arithmetic, nor is it whispered by economists who count only what they see with their eyes. It is an inner equation, a divine cipher, a harmony between thought, word, and action that tunes the soul to the frequency of abundance. When one lives in alignment with the laws of spirit, the number appears naturally, not in figures or symbols written on paper, but as a vibration that attracts money, opportunities, and supply as surely as the magnet draws iron. It cannot be forced, it cannot be begged, it cannot be stolen. It is revealed through harmony with the higher laws that govern all manifestation. Spiritual law is exact and impartial. It does not bend to personal preference or emotional pleading. It operates with perfect precision, like gravity or the rising of the sun. To align with it is to walk in safety and abundance. To resist it is to stumble in lack and confusion. The secret number is revealed when one ceases to struggle against these laws, and instead moves with them. Just as a musician who plays in tune produces harmony, while one who plays off key produces discord, so does a soul aligned with spiritual law create prosperity, while a soul out of alignment experiences struggle and lack. The number is the inner harmony, the right note struck in the consciousness that causes the universe to respond with multiplication of supply. This alignment requires purity of thought, for thought is the blueprint upon which substance takes shape. Negative thoughts of fear, doubt, envy, or resentment distort the vibration, throwing the equation into imbalance. Positive thoughts of faith, gratitude, joy, and generosity tune the mind to the exact frequency where the secret number is revealed. Every thought is a digit, a piece of the calculation, and when the digits are arranged according to the laws of spirit, the full equation appears, unlocking the treasury of abundance. To think lack is to miscalculate and come to zero. To think abundance is to calculate rightly and arrive at the number that rains money. Words are also part of this alignment. Every word spoken is a decree, a declaration that sets the law into motion. Words of complaint, of worry, of fear, are like incorrect figures written into the sum, and the result must be shortage and frustration. Words of faith, of thanks, of prosperity, are like correct figures that complete the equation, and the result must be abundance. The tongue writes the arithmetic of life as surely as the pen writes on paper. To speak in harmony with the law is to add correctly. To speak against it is to subtract and divide. The secret number is revealed when one's words agree with the unseen truth of supply. when the lips refuse to confess lack and instead affirm the infinite provision already prepared. Action 2 is part of the alignment. To think abundantly but act fearfully is to break the equation. To speak of supply but cling tightly in hoarding is to erase the sum. Right action completes the alignment, for action is the physical digit that seals the calculation. Giving, trusting, moving forward with courage, following intuition, seizing opportunity, all these are actions that bring the inner alignment into outward form. The secret number appears when thought, word, and action flow together without contradiction, when the entire being is harmonized with the rhythm of abundance. The number is secret only because few are willing to align fully. Many try to hold to fear while asking for abundance, to speak of lack while hoping for prosperity, to act in doubt while claiming faith. Such imbalance clouds the equation and hides the number. But the law is simple and exact: what is sown in thought, word, and action must be reaped in form. When the sowing is aligned with spirit, the reaping is always abundance. The number then becomes visible in experience, in money that flows, in opportunities that multiply, in needs met before they are spoken. The universe itself is built upon number and law. The stars move in mathematical precision. The seasons turn in rhythm, the atoms spin in ordered sequence. There is no chaos in the foundation of creation, only perfect harmony. To align with spiritual law is to step into that cosmic order, to find one's place in the great equation. The secret number is simply the individual's alignment with this universal harmony, the personal expression of the same law that governs galaxies and grains of sand alike. Just as a note resonates with the scale when struck in tune, so does the individual resonate with abundance when aligned with law, and money flows as the echo of that resonance. This number is not given once and for all but must be continually revealed, for alignment is a living practice. Just as the musician must continually tune the instrument, just as the sailor must continually adjust his course, so must the soul continually align thought, word, and action with spirit. Each moment is a calculation, each day an equation. Gratitude recalculates, faith recalibrates, generosity restores balance, expectation multiplies the sum. When alignment is kept, the number is ever present, and supply is ever flowing. The secret number has nothing to do with chance or luck. It is not won by lottery or gamble, for it is not of man's system of chance but of divine order. Those who discover it through alignment need not strive or compete, for the law itself delivers abundance. They need not fear loss, for the law cannot fail. The rain falls when the atmosphere is prepared, and so money reigns when the consciousness is aligned. The atmosphere of gratitude, faith, generosity, and expectation prepares the ground, and the law releases the flood. The number is secret only to the unawakened. To the awakened, it is plain, revealed not in figures but in results. It shows itself in the rhythm of giving and receiving, in the balance of faith and action, in the harmony of inner truth and outer form. It is not memorized, it is lived. It is not studied, it is embodied. The secret number is the vibration of a soul in tune with the divine order. And wherever that vibration is found, money flows naturally, opportunities multiply, and abundance manifests in perfect measure.